Hey, everybody, and welcome to Tier 1 Interventions Podcast, where we look at your core classroom and we try to maximize your gifts and help you reach every student with their math, with their writing, and with their reading skills. But we concentrate mostly on math here at Tier 1 Interventions Podcast. And our math leader, Miss Jonily, is ready to share some gold nuggets today. Welcome to the podcast, Jonily.
And they are gold nuggets because these last few weeks have been a whirlwind. I'm going to kind of take us back a little bit. And there's another community that I teach called a math teacher mastermind. And I'm going to launch our session today. Now, I want you to watch while I erase some of this stuff. I want you to see it happen in real time. This is why I didn't erase it before. So, if you are a part of Math Teacher Mastermind, which I think a lot of you are, this was our last session together. And so I want to make some connections and then we're going to extend beyond Math Teacher Mastermind. Because Math Teacher Mastermind we are not going to do in Math Teacher Mastermind some of these things that we do in level 2. Every group that I teach at the level of that cohort, not of the people, but of the type of cohort that it is. So on Saturday maths, you're never really going to get lots of up level. You're going to hear things differently, but you're never going to get lots of up level versions of it. I'm very deliberate and intentional about the content that I release depending on the cohort group that I'm in. So what I'm going to do is you're going to watch me erase some of this in real time from Math Teacher Mastermind. What's really cool is I wasn't even going to connect this, but movement and sensory, big deal. But I'm going to add to that here on our chart, and I'm not going to erase movement and sensory, but I'm going to add to that music up here and keep that as our non-academic essentials. Now, I'm going to erase all the climate culture stuff because I believe that this group that is here, you're experts in creating this climate and culture for your kids. So we don't need to belabor this. If I walked into any of your math classrooms right now, there would be a feel and a buzz and a Jay-Z-ness that would be really beautiful because many of you were like that before you even met me. And so now we just add those extra flares and we're growing together. So I'm not worried about this. I'm going to erase this for our tier 1 interventions, level 2 math teacher. I am going to erase the movement from there, but I am going to keep the number line and rectangles and lingering unfinished. Okay. I am going to get rid of this piece here. See, this wouldn't have been as powerful if I would have erased these parts without you watching. And I will do this in my classroom also. I will have the custodian know, don't erase those boards because what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm just going to erase pieces of them in front of my students. And then for my next class, I have to rewrite and then erase the pieces again so they get it in real time. But anyway, I'm not complaining about the extra work. Okay. So I'm going to erase. Now I'm going to leave this hanging for a minute.
You know they make smart boards for that?
Yes, but something else is on my smart board. So, yeah, so I actually have 7 full-size dry erase boards in my room. And I'd rather have that than doing it on smartboard and customizing it per class electronically for this type of event. Oh gosh, that's a whole nother podcast. But yes, Sherry, yes and no. Okay, so I'm also going to erase this because I'm going to give myself some board space.
It's just like you saying that you can't do a PowerPoint anymore. You have to do it this way,
I know. It's
where I am all about the PowerPoint.
exactly. Great connection. So what do we have left here? We have left this music, movement, sensory. I'm leaving that there. I was going to erase all that, but because of our conversation, I think that's going to be important here. This is absolutely essential because today is all about, and I'm going to write this in red also, is all about lockers, rectangles, pizzas. Okay. I'm leaving this, which is funny. I wasn't going to teach on all the linear and then the interleaving and the out of. I used a lot of examples of this and I forgot this was even written here. Like, in all honesty, I totally forgot. And I wasn't even going to teach on that. So I'm going to leave that here because I'm proud of myself, is what I'm saying. Okay. So here's what we have left. And Kathy, I remember you saying you just used this when I wrote that. Not to put you on the spot, and if you don't have anything to say, that's fine. But could you tell us about that and how you used it? And for those that are listening and maybe don't have the visual, x squared plus 5x plus 6 is the polynomial. And let me just remind you that in fifth grade, kids need to start really mastering exponents. And by fifth grade, kids should have seen unknowns and variables for a couple of years. So the first time in the standards, it says to represent unknowns using different symbols. In first grade is the first time in the content standards it says that. See, we're missing all this stuff. So if you're a third, fourth grade teacher, you can show x squared plus 5x plus 6 to your students and then use our famous prompts. Tell me about, what do you see? What do you notice? Because this is exposure. It's random acts of math. It's interleaving. It's exposure over mastery. So this is perfectly, actually, not even perfectly okay. It's necessary for third, fourth grade. But definitely in fifth grade, kids should be seeing these types of polynomials. But Kathy, tell us how you used this.
I started out working with a couple of different groups. One group is a low sixth grade group, and another group is beginning ninth grade algebra. So I started both groups working with diamond numbers, and where the vision in your mind, an X, and in the top most part of the X is what numbers you put a number in there for a product of a number. And in the bottom portion of the X, you put in what the same two numbers are going to add to, which leads to, obviously, for those who are teaching secondary math, it leads to what two numbers add to a certain number and the same two numbers multiplied to a certain number. Now, for my younger students, my fifth and sixth graders that I'm working with, for them, it's practicing their multiplication facts. We're talking about factors of numbers. So because at that age, they're getting factors and multiples mixed up. And that's a perfect skill for them. They find it fun. It's cognitively challenging. They're practicing their factors and all of that. For my older students, especially my beginning algebra students, that I'm working with, it's really good for them because it's going to lead to factoring the quadratics. And so I do show them. I was working with, usually when I start out, I start with lower numbers because it's easier to start with a lower number and it doesn't frustrate them and they experience success and feel really confident about their math ability. And so I did that one where what two numbers add to 5, so 5 would have been in the bottom of the diamond, and multiply to 6. And it was interesting because they started coming up with different ones, and all of a sudden, 2 and 3 came through. And I said, and this is going to help you so much in the future. And I put that expression up there. And then all of a sudden the everything started like falling out of their mouths, like saying, "Oh, if we take one of those numbers and we put it in for X and then we square it." And these were my fifth and sixth graders, and they're classified with the school that I'm working with. They're classified as low learners. They were pulling it out and putting it in. And it all started with engagement. And I said, yes. And I said, do you know that this is Algebra 1? You guys are, and they're like lighting up. And it was so fascinating.
Kathy, beautiful description. It was so much better for all of us to hear your voice for a while instead of mine, because that's exactly, you said exactly what I was going to say. So if you are not doing diamond problems in your classroom, Amy, you'd probably be the only exception to the rule. Amy is a first grade teacher, but if you are not doing diamond problems in your classroom and you teach third grade and beyond, you need to start doing diamond problems. And this is deliberately, intentionally what I was going to share today. And I actually have a resource. I have two resources for you, PDFs that I'm going to share, and then we'll get them where they need to be so that you can have access to them. I'm going to show you when I share my screen in just a moment. Diamond problems, the reason you write an X is because it's just a shorthand version for showing that you have a diamond. And I did the outline of the diamond, but it's just a lot more work to write the diamond every time. So we just write the X to show product sum, and the two numbers on the sides are the two numbers multiply and add. And diamond problems are diamond problems because we've got this quote unquote rectangle. I know when we talk about diamonds and parallelograms and now we're classifying shape, whatever. Don't worry about the classification. When we say diamond problems, let's just say we have this tilted rectangle. Maybe the degrees aren't 90, whatever. Okay, just anyway. The point is, all of our polynomial function, quadratic function, can be done with diamond problems and with rectangles. Lockers, rectangles, pizzas, oh my. So once a week, kids need to see rectangles. Where do we get this from? Go to state release test questions. Go to state release test questions for your grade level and other grade levels. Go to grade levels below yours and above yours. Best place to find good rectangles is go to state release test questions. Take a picture of whatever the rectangle is, remove the noise. What that means, not the noise we hear, but the noise that prompts answer getting and solving. We don't want to force answer getting and solving on the release test question. We want to get rid of the promotion of answer getting and solving, and we just want to show the rectangle piece with the numbers or the whatever any information that the students need. But get rid of the question and the prompt that promotes answer getting and solving. Because when we want kids to swim in the mathematics, especially at higher grade levels, we don't want to promote answer getting and solving. We want to promote thinking, reasoning, and sense making. So when I give this polynomial and I'm like, what do you see? What do you notice? I'm not asking them to solve anything. So we're just exposing this notation in math and asking them what they think. Then if we're doing diamond problems out of context, and I'm going to show you some, I'm going to share my screen in a minute. If we're doing this separately out of context, there will be times where we can relate these, but I don't even have to relate them. As a non-algebra teacher, I don't even have to relate them. I should and I can, but I don't even have to. I can do diamonds totally separate. Now, there are different levels of diamond problems. And I'm going to give you a resource in a moment, but for kids in for my second graders, I might start with this. Now, this is totally related to what I just said. As a matter of fact, I am planning this out loud right now in real time. When I go to second grade next week, I'm going to do this. Because for my second graders, I would start with the numbers on the sides.
Okay, teacher friends, that concludes today's look at rectangles, X models, early variable exposure, and the power of diamond problems. Next week, we zoom all the way into early grade alignment. how second and third graders can begin building multiplicative reasoning, arrays, and fact fluency using structures you've already seen today. This next episode will blow your mind with how simple it can be. And hey, if you're loving this and want to get the full workshop where we go step by step into the Mastery Math method, you can sign up to experience one workshop for just $47. The link is waiting for you.